Hello there, fellow awakened ones. Jeremy again here with Consciousness Awake. Hope you're doing real well. I just did a video talking about my 444 portal in the 5D astral plane, and some of you are probably like, hey, how do I do this? How do I get there? I actually got, and it was in a comment. It's amazing how many emails I get, seriously, guys. But I just had an email like a second ago before I hit record right now to do this video. And they were like, I'm unsubscribing. I'm not subscribing anymore. They didn't unsubscribe yet, but they said, I'm going to unsubscribe soon because you're saying I can do this in 5D and build my own reality construct, but how in the heck do I get there? Right? And they're kind of like frustrated. It sounds like they've been trying to meditate, astral project for a while. Maybe just never had any success with it. I don't know. I'll actually email them back and ask them that question. So if you're watching right now, I'm going to send the email to you after I do this recording, this video. But yeah, so how do we do it? How do we get out of our body? How do I do it? How do I do, if it's intentional, right? Because I don't know what to tell you. I've had a lot of spontaneous, activity throughout the years, as a teenager, into my 20s, etc. I didn't really try that hard at all. This is something that's been quite natural to me. But I'm not special. Everyone can do this. Everyone does it. Sometimes people just don't remember their experiences, etc., etc. We've talked about this in before videos. But how do we intentionally induce astral projection? And the way to do that is to self-induce sleep paralysis. Okay? Right? We've talked about sleep paralysis a few different times in this channel. So, I'm going to share right now in this video. This video is dedicated to just explaining how I do it. Okay? So, I'm going to close my eyes here for a sec. I'm just going to relax for a second, and I'm going to run through how if I'm intentionally doing astral projection, how am I doing it? Okay? All right. So, part of day. Usually, I get some sleep. I get at least 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and then I target the 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. range, 4:30 a.m. in around there. I've even done it at 4:44 a.m. and that seems to be pretty successful for me. And I guess that sequence of numbers just have some kind of relevance to my experience. I don't know. But anyways, so this is what I would do. So you just lay down, okay? I just lay down. Well, actually, let me just explain how I do it. So I just lay down on my back. I put my hands, my left and right arm, and my hands to the sides of my body, palms down to the bed or whatever you're on. My feet are like maybe 12 to 18 inches apart, and I'm just laying there on my back. And then I focus on, basically, let me explain this breathing technique. So what I do is I do a 6-second sequence on the breath work. So what I do is I just lay on my back, I just relax for a second, and I just intake air through my nose for 6 seconds, and then I hold my air in my lungs for 6 seconds, and then I exhale the air for 6 seconds through my mouth, and then I just lay in silence and in just calmness for 6 seconds. And then I inhale air through my nose again for 6 seconds. So it's a 6, 6, 6, 6, 4 sixes, not 3 sixes, 4 sixes, 4 6 second intervals on the breathing. right? So I'm sure that makes sense. So when I was a kid, don't worry, I'm not going to digress. When I was a kid, my parents lived by the ocean, right? I don't really live by the ocean now where I'm at. I do go to the ocean sometimes, but I used to live by the ocean. And so I remember always going to the coast and to the beach and hearing that tide, roll in onto the pebbles, and then rolling in and then rolling out and dragging those rocks. There's a lot of I'm from LA originally, Los Angeles, and there's a lot of rocky beaches around LA there, and then you have the sandy beaches. So there was some rocky beaches too. So we live more near towards where the rocky beaches were, and so I would love to hear the sound of that water, that tide, kind of the tidal flow going in and out, right? And so it really stuck with me. And then by accident, I just did my 6-second interval breathing exercise as I was trying to, just lay my back one day many years ago. And I noticed that as I was getting relaxation in the body, my muscles were, relaxing, and I'm getting into a breathing rhythm. I noticed how that breathing rhythm just sounded like the tide, just like the ocean water coming in and rolling out. And then so what happens is like I'm not focused on, as I'm relaxing my body trying to get into sleep paralysis, I'm not focused on really my breathing. What I'm focused on is the sound of that tidal flow of water flowing in, flowing out. So it's like I hear my breath, but I'm hearing like the ocean, right? Does that make any sense? So I'm not listening to the breath. I'm kind of paying attention to the breathing rhythm, but all I'm actually zoning in on and focusing on, my one thought, is just that tide coming in and going out. And then as I'm doing that, eventually after a couple minutes, your feet, your legs, your arms, everything just starts going numb and paralyzed, and your body's like falling asleep basically, and your brain is then at that point trying to use the nervous system and trying to signal to the body, and it's actually in a certain process where it's asking the body, the physical body, if it's asleep or not. You've probably heard of this before. And then what happens is the brain then tests the physical body to see if it's asleep. Okay, and so it does multiple things. It makes like you kind of sense how the brain tries to make your arms move, or your fingers, or your feet, or like you want to kind of like roll over on your left side or your right side of the body, kind of thing, different sleep positions. Like the brain's doing all this stuff, and also the saliva in the throat. So you feel the saliva increase, an increase in saliva buildup on the back of your throat, and it gets near your neck muscles, and then your brain is testing to see if those neck muscles will actually move to actually relieve that buildup of saliva. So in other words, you're swallowing your saliva, right? So you have a buildup of saliva, and you're swallowing it using your neck muscles. So what I learned is that if I'm just hearing that tidal flow going, rocking in, rocking out, and I'm in that certain particular breathing exercise that mimics that, and then once I started training myself to ignore that the saliva in the throat, ignore trying to move your arms or legs when the brain is testing your body if it's asleep or not. So once I've learned how to navigate past that and ignore it, see, like once you ignore it, it only takes like 10-20 seconds for your brain to say, oh, okay, so I tested that part of the physical body, and that part of the body didn't respond to that test, and so it must be falling asleep, right? And so, and then what it does is what the brain does is at that point is it releases multiple chemicals throughout the body that spreads out to your muscles and whatnot to put you in that kind of like that sleep state, sleep paralysis state. And that's what it does naturally too when like when you're in dreams and REM state and whatnot. Your body goes into this natural sleep paralysis kind of state. There's nothing scary. There's nothing scary about it. It's not demonic possession or anything, or like, people get so freaked out about this stuff. It's just a natural process that we go through every night, and multiple times per night. Our body goes through sleep paralysis, and it's just a matter of having your consciousness awake while you're in sleep paralysis, and just kind of doing it intentionally or lining it up while you sleep, etc., etc. And again, some people turn sleep paralysis into lucid dreams, and they go inward into the subconscious plane, or they go into the the astral projection out of body stuff, the 4D, 5D, etc. And so the chemicals, yes, and I'm gonna do future videos on the chemicals that the brain releases to the physical body to really put it into that sleep paralysis, numbing sleep paralysis state. The chemicals, the two chemicals that come to mind at the moment are GABA. It's a neurotransmitter, and glycine. Glycine is a amino acid. So this neurotransmitter and the amino acid are one of the most important chemicals that are released from the brain into your physical body to then get it into that actual sleep paralysis state. Then, of course, once those chemicals are released, and if you're, consciously aware and awake, your body's going off to sleep, then that's when the vibrational state starts. That's when the vibrations come. I used to think the vibrations came from the human body, but after some time, I realized, of course, this is my own perspective. Don't get mad if you don't agree. But the vibrations are coming from the etheric body. The vibrations are coming from there, and your consciousness is then at that point starting to sense and connect to the vibrations from your etheric body, so they can start as transfer into that. Now, not that it will go there automatically, but what I'm saying is, at that point, your spirit body, your consciousness, your spirit body is in an in-between phase where the physical body's falling asleep. You're still awake, so you're right in between your etheric and physical. but it's natural while during sleep paralysis and while you're in that phase, so to speak, to actually sense and feel your etheric body, legs or arms or head or whatever it is. And it's very easy to sense that and feel it, because what happens is just naturally is you will sense that you'll feel, especially during the vibrational state, you'll feel let's say the arm of your etheric body just coming up, and it comes up like it's floating up, but then it just stalls and just kind of levitates there for a second. And you feel it, like you're integrated into that, I think for you who have actually experienced this, you know exactly what I'm trying to say. And then what you do is you just shift awareness, you shift your consciousness / awareness into that arm, and then all of a sudden, you're shifting into that other body, and then all of a sudden you start feeling more of that etheric body really, really quick, instantly. Sometimes it takes an extra second or two or whatever, but it's never the exact same thing. It kind of varies sometimes. And then you are then into that. And then you're moving into those final phases of an astral projection where you're using exit techniques, things, different many dozens and dozens of hundreds of different exit techniques that work for different types of people. I've had several that have worked really, really, really good for me. And then you go on from there. But that's kind of what I do, and I hope that all made sense. And I already got to 14 minutes here. My goodness. You guys have a wonderful day. Sending you tons of positive energy. I'm going to make another video here actually pretty soon. So, all right, peace.